morning, everybody, and welcome to our Lunch and Learn with Savvas. We're so excited to have them here with us today. They're one of our great sponsors for our MOCIS 2026 conference, which is coming up soon. So you're going to be able to get a little sneak peek into some great things that they're doing with CTE. And we're going to hear a lot about what they've got going on for CTE. I know it's a big conversation for a lot of our districts, so we're excited to have them here. Lindsay, I'm going to let you start introducing yourself, and then we'll just kind of introduce who's on the call. But I'm Jessica Gray. I'm the Director of Learning Systems here with Step Up. And Lindsay, you're my next in my box, so we'll jump to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Hi, I am Lindsay with an E. I'm on the Kansas City side and serve Western Missouri for Savvas and have enjoyed every moment of being here. I live in Pleasant Hill and spent 15 years as an educator in the special education world in the Raytown school districts. And like I said, loving Savvas, proud to work here. And we recognized that there was a huge need and a huge gap and need for CTE for our students, for our educators, administrators. And so, like the rest of our products, again, really, really proud to offer Savvas CTE. Matt Barber is our CTE guru, and he's going to be presenting today and have lots of great answers for you. And I'm also going to turn over to Andy Hogan here in a moment to introduce himself. We may have Lindsay with an A, Shoemaker, joining us from the St. Louis side as well. She is our teammate, and we are excited for things happening in Missouri. So, Andy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McDaniel. Well, my name's Andy Hogan, and really, I have the same exact role that Lindsay McDaniel has. I, however, am based over here in the St. Louis side of the state and serve St. Louis County, St. Charles County, and then I really support the southeast corner of the state with our district partners. So, as well with Lindsay, I've got a background in education and classrooms, but I supported the elementary side. So I look at CTE really with the courses that I wish I would have had the opportunity to take in high school, certifications I wish I would have been able to exit with. I think it's a really neat pathway that we're proud, as Lindsay said, to offer, but also with the push that we're seeing from the state and our next generation of folks entering the workforce. It really is a very much so catered market and catered space that we're happy to support our districts with. So again, St. Louis side, I'm hoping that Lindsay can join us as well. But if not, she supports St. Louis as well in kind of that western and southwest corner of our state. So really, wherever you're at in Missouri, you've got great support. But as Lindsay said, really leading the call, we invited in our specialist, Mr. Matt Barber from Savvas CTE. So step up before Matt takes the microphone. Do we want to do any other kind of final calls or anything else just to get us moving?
No.
Feeling good?
I think we're good. We're
All
ready
right.
for you, Matt.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. And thanks for the intro. So, my name is Matt Barber. I am a National College and Career Readiness Specialist for Savvas Learning Company. My background stems from in high school education. I was a high school math teacher. I was a high school counselor. So, I was in the K-12 school district out here in Arizona, Chandler, Arizona, for over 10 years. And I also was an adjunct math professor as well too for about 8 years as well too. So I enjoy everything college and career readiness, and our Savvas CTE program that we're going to talk to you today fits into that bucket. So I'm excited to share what Savvas is doing here in this area. So let's kind of take a look at what we have here today. So really with Savvas CTE, when we built this, we had three things in mind here. The first one was flexibility. And why we talk about flexibility is it's a flexible implementation, meaning you can do it fully in the classroom, fully virtual, or a blend of the two. So we wanted you to be able to implement it any way that you wanted to, because school districts are doing all sorts of new and exciting things too. The second thing was we wanted to give school districts options. Now, why do we want to give people options? Well, we want school districts to be able to offer courses that they never thought that they could. And we do this with our fully digital CTE curriculum. It allows us to add courses each year. So when we started with Savvas CTE, we had about just under 40 courses. Starting this fall, we're currently selling 69 Savvas CTE courses, and that continues to grow each year. With those courses and our great teacher resources, if you have a content level instructor, they can be teaching it. And if you don't have a content level instructor for our great courses, using our teacher resources, a teacher can still facilitate the course since it can be done self-paced or asynchronous. So that's why we want to give school districts options. And the third biggest thing is certification prep. We know students and school districts want students to leave with something. So out of our 69 courses that we're going to show you, 31 prepare students for an industry-based certification exam. And we continually add to that each year. So those are our three focuses really with Savvas CTE that we're going to talk about today. So with that, hopefully everybody can see my screen with all of our great 69 courses in the different 11 career clusters here. So let's talk a little bit about these courses that you're seeing with kind of those three pillars that we talked about on the last screen. So the first one was flexibility. All of the courses that you're currently seeing on my screen as you kind of scan to see, is that something I offer or is that something that we've been looking to offer and couldn't? These are fully developed digital courses, meaning they are all done for you. But with that, we provide teacher resources for all of these courses, just like Savvas does for all their great curriculum, because Savvas has core, ELA, math, science, social studies. So with all those teacher resources, we're bringing those into Savvas CTE as well. So like I said, you can do these fully in the classroom. You can do them fully virtual if you have an online school or kids, can't fit something into their schedule, or you can do a blend of the two. Um, you can also do these as your full curriculum, or you can use these as a supplement to something that you're already doing. Like if you are doing more hands-on things, we work with a lot of technical schools who are doing projects all day, but they need a base curriculum that kids can kind of do when they're not working at projects. We work with summer school as well too, credit recovery, acceleration, after school programs. It's all these different ways, and there's other ways that we haven't even thought of that people are embedding our curriculum here. You can also see our options as well too with this. So we're trying to give school districts options for these modernized changing courses. So really, we have a lot of staples of CTE, such as like agri-science, architectural design that have been around forever. But we also have a lot of more modernized courses for our ever-changing world, like cybersecurity, drones, remote pilot, social media and business marketing. So we also want to offer different courses, for our ever-changing world and intro to artificial intelligence, which is kind of everywhere now. And then, like I talked, the third thing was certification prep. So if you look on my screen right now, out of those 69 courses, 31 of them now have an orange check mark to the right of it. Those means those are our certification prep courses. They are going to prepare students for success on an industry-based certification exam. Now, what's great about it is kids don't have to go take the certification exam. We have people who just buy our courses because they like the curriculum, but those are options that we have. That if certification prep is something that you are looking to add, we can do that. Now, what are we aligned to? It's always like, well, a lot of them are the major providers. So you can see Certiport up top. I would say that is a majority of our courses certification are aligned to that, just because Certiport has testing centers all across the country and in Missouri. And a lot of times, high schools can become testing sites if you contact those entities. So other things, we work with Meta, Oracle, the FAA for our drones program as well too, as certification prep. And then obviously, if anybody has any interest or anything, you can contact any of our great Savvas account managers. And we have this all on a list for you that you can walk through. Now, I said we had fully developed digital courses, but I also said they all come with Savvis's great teacher resources, where if you have a content level instructor, they can use our teacher resources in order to teach the course. But we also know with the wide variety of course offerings that Savvas CTE offers, you might not have a content level instructor, and that's okay. We build our teacher resources in mind where if you have a content level instructor, you can do it. If you don't, but have a teacher who can facilitate the course, you can still use our teacher resources to be able to offer these courses, which is great. So you can see some of the teacher resources that we have. We have a teacher's blended learning guide. We have pacing guides. And the question I always get with pacing guides is, well, what's the implementation? So with all Savvas CTE courses, we shoot for an average of 80 hours of classroom instruction. Within those 80 hours, you can offer them fully self-paced, but we'll provide pacing guides for both a semester and a full year implementation at your choice. If you were to ask me, how do most school districts implement? I would say a high percentage are more semester based because they like to offer other Savvas CTE courses, possibly for that next semester, because we have so many offerings. And then the other question I always get with the teacher resources is, Matt, why do you have answer keys? They're fully developed digital courses. Why do we need an answer key? Well, with our courses, with this, we also have written work in there. We have short answer assignments. We have reflections that kids will do for checking understanding, formative based assessment after our lessons. So that can be just participation. But if you have a teacher, we give you sample student answers. So if you did want to grade it for content, you have the option to do that. Because we're always thinking, do you have a content level instructor or are you just having a teacher facilitate that? And then how is all of our content housed? Um, it's all housed on Savvas Realize. Savvas has one learning management system that all of our great content sits on, from ELA, math, science, social studies, and Savvas CTE is no different. We're on that same platform. So if you already are using some of the great Savvas content, Savvas CTE plugs right in on that same learning management system, and we license everything the same way. And then we also work with and integrate with other great learning management systems such as Canvas, Schoology, or if you are a Google Classroom district, Savvas Realize does work with that as well too. So our content sits on there. And we also offer great options whether you want to auto roster your kids or manually roster your kids. If that was the next question. I know the digital content is, how does this all work? And Savvas has a great team that you can get on if you have questions on how we integrate, how do I roster my kids. Our great Savvas account managers, the two Lindsays and Andy, can always set you up with a meeting with our technology team. So let's talk about one of our courses. Didn't think we had enough time to demo anything, but I wanted to talk to you about one of our probably our more popular courses, our drones remote pilot course. So we have drones in I think in one of the clusters, but drones is one of more of those universal courses that's kind of going everywhere. People are using it in agri-science programs. People are using it in law enforcement programs. It's kind of more of like a universal course that we have a lot of popularity with. So this is our drones course. You can see what the students are going to learn about. And this is also a certification prep course, meaning students are going to be prepared for success on the FAA Part 107 commercial drone pilot exam. So they're going to learn a lot of great content. Do they have to take the certification exam? No, you don't have to. We don't charge any different for our certification prep courses. So let's take a look and let's just learn a little bit more about our drone course. And then Andy and Lindsay, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear and see my screen to make sure.
The future is here. It's flying over our heads, delivering packages, helping farmers eat their crops, and providing first aid to people in areas that otherwise may be unreachable. The potential for drone career opportunities is growing faster than we can imagine. Unmanned aircraft systems and vehicles need technicians, programmers, network administrators, and software engineers, and of course, operators and pilots. In this course, we'll explore basics in the world of drones. What types of drones exist? What regulations and requirements must pilots follow? How can weather affect a drone's operations? How are drones piloted? How are they served and maintained? And how can I use drone controls and cameras? This course will also prepare you to take the FAA Part 107 exam to become a certified drone pilot. We're only just beginning to understand the possibilities of what drones can do and how we can use them. One thing is clear, the opportunities are limited only by our creativity.
Okay, so that's a little bit about our drones exam, and you can see on the screen right now, these are our table of contents for our drones course. So students are going to learn about that drone pilot exam. They're going to learn about regulations, airspace, weather, loading and performance, operations, and drone careers. So this is one of our great options in one of our 69 Savvas CTE courses. Now, also in all of our 69 Savvas CTE courses, there are 2 universal chapters that you get access to at no extra cost. One of them, there is a personalized career exploration in all of our courses. This is where students can answer questions about their interests and then research about those interests. Now, if the next question you asked is, do you only have a personalized career exploration in all your courses, or do you have any career exploration courses that we could use, possibly in the middle school? And we do. We have a generalized career exploration that has 16 great modules that covers all the 16 career clusters. So we do have that, and then we also have some other career explorations that specialize like in healthcare or finance if you wanted to dive deeper. So Savvas does offer that. And then the other thing that we do have in all of our courses is a module on employability skills. You can kind of see scrolling through it. It covers, how to be productive at a job, teamwork, work skills, all of that. So those 2 modules come complementary in all 69 of our Savvas CTE courses. And I'm going to kind of pause there and kind of stop to see, Lindsay or Andy, do you want to add anything to that? Been trying to watch my time here as well too to make sure we have time for questions as well. I know I did a lot of talking, but I wanted to make sure I covered enough to give you a nice exploratory introduction on Savvas CTE. So Andy or Lindsay, I'll kind of turn it over to you.
Sure. The only 2 things came to mind, Matt, just to be super clear on. I know you said auto rostering. So districts that do not use a Google Classroom or a Canvas or a Schoology, please also know that we fully integrate with a Clever or a ClassLink as well. So students just follow that pathway to enter our platform where you can post assignments. So really any which way that a district or would like to have students or teachers log in, we can manage, and we do that for you automatically. But wanted to make sure to be clear on that. And then one thing too, and Matt, you touched on this, but I think this deserves all the attention in the world, are those blended learning guides. Something that we were very intentional when we brought Savvas CTE to market was understanding that a lot of instructors of these courses are experts in their field, but may not have that historic, K-12 instructional background of managing a class or developing a scope and sequence or anything like that. They have the life skills, but now it's bringing it to make sense to a group of students that it's their first time experiencing it. So I do say that blended learning guide really is like a teacher's edition. It's going to give you prompts for launching conversations, to give you ideas for pacing, for giving you ideas of small group or whole group instruction strategies. It's really all there for you. And whether it's leaned on or not, it's just a tool that's part of the program itself. And if any changes come to scope and sequence, or if a new course is born, we always include those in any new courses that 69 and growing account happens. We'll always have those tools for teachers. So those are my 2 nuggets, just ease of access for everybody. And then no matter where you're at with class instruction expertise, with the program has also got your back with just having a portfolio of resources there for you.
Matt, I
But
don't think I have anything to necessarily add. Andy, that was perfect and spot on. I do see a question, Matt, and it says, my wondering is if districts can take these and pair them in younger elementary classrooms. Can they be modified?
Yeah, that's a great question, with it. So, with our Savvas CTE courses, we market them usually for grades 6 through 12. All of our courses can be done at any level in high school. And then we have about like 13 to 14 of our
Mhm.
courses that are like specifically, we try to design them more for like middle school, which would be like our career exploration course and that. So the question goes, can you go down to the elementary school? I have seen some like, looking at like fifth graders, if like certain districts kind of transition that into the middle school, kind of going lower and, with the different Lexile levels, I wouldn't kind of go early primary years or anything like that, but kind of going down into that middle school, throughout high school would be kind of like our age and everything like that. In terms of being able to like modify like the courses and everything, we have a lot of very unique pricing options with how you can kind of blend courses together with that. So you can actually pay per student per course, or we have what's new and popular is we have what's called the Flex Unlimited, where you could pay a per student price, and then that student has access to all 69 of the Savvas CTE courses. So that's where a lot of teachers sometimes are combining and pulling like a couple chapters from one course and then some chapters from another course to fit their standards or their scope and sequence. So you can kind of piece them together. The only thing we always say at Savvas CTE though is if your students are going to be taking one of the industry-based certification exams that we're aligned to, we build a course with the objectives in mind that students are doing that whole course to prepare them for success on the certification exam. So I always say if they are going to be taking that certification exam, you really should be doing all the elements in our course.
Thank you, Matt. That was so thorough and very engaging to listen to. This is the kind of stuff I wish I would have had in high school that would have been so great. And I don't know, I get goosebumps looking at this, thinking about all the possibilities that kids have now to be able to really hone in on things that they're interested in that workforce. Shauna had typed in the question about elementary. I had that question, and then I think Andy had answered another question that I had. And so I feel like you did such a great job explaining everything that Savvas has to offer here in these courses. And Sue, do you have any questions?
I
I'm
do
looking
have
through
a
my list.
I have
Yeah.
a couple, but I apologize in advance if you answered this and I missed it. Okay, mine are logistical. I'm thinking like a principal. I was thinking about many of the schools that we serve who would definitely want to partner with you. So my first question is, do you have a number or an idea of how many of our schools in Missouri already know about this offering from you, the CTE, and are already partnering with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. We already do have school districts in Missouri who are currently using Savvas CTE. And
Okay,
I want to kind of talk, we were at what was it, last summer? And I know we're going again this summer to the National Administrator CTE
yeah,
Missouri
Missouri
Conference.
MCCTA, so the Missouri Council of Administrators for Technical Education. So we'll be back in July in Springfield, Missouri for that conference.
great.
Face to face with everybody to show what's new and to kind of again reconnect very similarly what we've shared this morning, um, tied to CT, but already have a good footprint. We can run a report absolutely and share utilization. I know that we've got strong usage in the St. Louis area and the Southeast Missouri corner. I know Lindsey McDaniel, Lindsay Shoemaker also in the Kansas City and the Southwest region do as well. But it's been neat to see how districts are taking these courses and making them work for them, whether it be the complete curriculum that they follow or whether it's the instructional supplement that teachers needed in between, like the hands-on, um, like workshop or lab portions of their instruction. This being more of the meat and potatoes of the content behind it all.
Got it.
Sue, this doesn't necessarily answer your question because I feel like Matt and Andy did a great job of answering that specifically. But one piece that we love is actually going into school districts and to their technical programs or their offerings and not trying to sell what we have, but really just looking to see what are districts doing? Is there a need and taking that back? And as Matt started this has already grown by 20 courses in a little over a year. And that's part of it is just seeing where are their needs and gaps. And I would say that this year has been probably my favorite part of the job is getting the opportunity to just go and do tours and walkthroughs and see the great work that's already being done. So we would love that as well. I'll just put a plug for that. If there are any districts out there that would invite us in to just take a tour, invite Matt to come along with us and just see what there is so that we can see where we can continue to help students and teachers.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I hope so. I hope they take you up on the offer because this is amazing. I too, it makes me very excited as a parent, as a former teacher and principal of what are the possibilities for our students. So thank you for this. This is great.
I work with a lot of rural Missouri districts, just being in the Southwest area, and I can really see how this could just enhance the opportunities for kids that don't have CTE schools or that they don't have those career development opportunities because of location. So I just love it. This is so exciting. I did have one more question. There's so much right now with funding, right? Like that's the name of the game, especially in Missouri. But I'm curious as to, are your districts able and utilizing grants for workforce development? Because we always hear that there's a lot of money in that area that's not necessarily tied to general public education. And so I was just curious as to how that some schools were navigating some of the funding difficulties that they're facing to be able to still provide, this opportunity for their students.
I'll let Matt jump in and speak more about like Perkins funding that's always applicable. But one thing I can say, and I think the timeline on this specific grant has ended, but I know that there's always renewals for it. But in the really in the like early 25 and then into the 26 school year, so the current academic year we're in now, Savvas CTE was eligible for the federal enhancements grant because it's not tied to specific print textbooks. Being a digital
Sure.
platform itself is what made it applicable. So I had several district partners that were able to apply for the grant. Funding was then given, and then that is what was used to bring Savvas CTE into their school districts. And I think I appreciate the fact that it is a digital curriculum because, or I should say more of the resource, because these courses are always changing. We know Certiport is always changing their things. The second something is bound in a textbook, that is what it appears as for the rest of time, right? These courses are always changing, so the digital course then can match. So I'll keep an eye out and speak more with our partners in MCCTA to learn about any other grants that are coming. But I do know that the federal enhancement grant was very popular in the current, I guess, almost ending academic year.
Yeah. Thank you. That's always the question we get is funding, always.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, just because Andy said that, yeah, I would say a majority of school districts purchasing with like Perkins V funding would be probably the main funding source that we see. But with a lot of the courses, like they're using them as like supplements into core. Where I kind of like go with that a little bit is like we offer different like finance offerings, like personal finance. So a lot of them are like purchasing like a personal finance as a supplement like into like a high school math curriculum as well too, because starting in algebra 2 you start talking about like different finances. I know there's different algorithms dealing with Roth IRAs since I taught high school math. So sometimes they're kind of doing some purchasing in with their core adoptions as well to get creative with that. And then obviously we work with a lot of virtual schools, a lot of virtual partners across the country as well. So they're kind of using funding dealing with virtual schools since our courses can be done fully self-paced, asynchronous as well too. So that kind of goes back with like the flexibility of the program. It kind of goes with a lot of all these different like things that you can do with it.
That's great. Thank you for that information. I know that all of our clients watching the replay, that's what they're going to ask is, this looks amazing. How do we get funding? And so they're going to really take a lot of that to heart and explore, I know. So I really appreciate you sharing those tips for them as they start to navigate this world. But do you guys have anything else to share before we wrap up? I know we're just about to our time.
I would say if you're part of the MCCTA network, we look forward to seeing you in July in Springfield. The dates of that conference are, I know it's the third week of July, but I want to make sure I don't say any misinformation. We will be in Springfield on July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd for that conference. And then again, really any regional conferences that we're having, especially applicable to the secondary education world, we'll always have CTE information there. So if there's something coming up in Missouri that you know of beyond MCCTA or our regular scheduled conferences, we'd love to be a piece of that as well.
That's great. Well, we hope everybody comes to MOCIS. We've got several, I know clients that are going to watch this replay that are going to be there. And so you can come see Lindsay. Lindsay's going to be there with us, and she'll be able to give you all the details on June 9th.
Yes, please stop by, chat with us, let us know what we can do, how we can help you, and if we can come tour your programs. Jessica, Sue, will our contact information be shared out with
Yep,
this
we will.
viewing?
Yes, we'll put it down below in the recordings. But if you're watching this replay too, if they reach out to us, we'll give them all of your contact info.
Great.
Especially for your areas. I tried to make sure I wrote down your areas so we gave them the right person to contact. But
Perfect.
thank you guys so much for joining us today. I think one big takeaway too was all of your experience. I love being able to hear people in the work that have lived the work. And so that was really a true testament to the stuff that you guys are doing is for schools and for kids. And so I'm really appreciative of you guys being on here and for you guys being a great sponsor for MOCIS this year. We're so thankful for that. And we look forward to continuing to work with you and seeing you guys on June 9th.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity. Great to speak with you today.
Thank you, team.
Yep, thank you.